Okay, so we're here with Ed from Native. So, Ed, can you describe Native as a band?
I mean, we were basically just four friends when we started. All we ever wanted to do was be in a band. So I feel as though Native is just a really good representation of the four of us working together. That's the best way to put it.
Right on, right on. How would you describe your sound?
For us, it was more, I would say it's loud for sure, but I think for us, the main point of the music was to capture moods within just the music alone and not depend solely on vocals. So for us, I would describe our sound as very moody.
Right on. Okay. So how would you describe your progression? I guess maybe start as a musician, just as yourself, and then maybe from your previous albums to the new one.
As you get, I feel as though it's with any art form. Art kind of goes along with your personality in general, and as time goes on, you're going to mature. And I feel as though that can happen in a lot of different ways. And for me as a musician, it became more so about playing the right thing instead of just playing, something that I liked. So it takes a bit of sacrifice and finesse to kind of come up with the perfect part, I feel, and you kind of have to sacrifice maybe a little bit of flashiness for, to play the thing that's really appropriate. And I think that Native in general kind of all went through that, as well as myself, where we all just kind of made sacrifices or took the extra step to kind of make parts perfect to us.
Do you want to talk a little more about Orthodox?
Sure. We, as a band, wrote an album a couple years ago called Wrestling Moves, and under the circumstances, it was kind of a rush job, and we weren't really happy with the songs. We wrote them, and we were okay, I feel okay about this, and then we recorded them and listened back to them. It was man, I do not feel this, but you're kind of entrapped in it, and we kind of just fell into a cycle of kind of just doing, not really investing ourselves in anything, but just doing a lot, just trying to stay busy, and it really takes its toll, I feel emotionally and artistically, where you become almost nihilistic, and not in an artistic way, but just in general, where you don't really give a shit one way or the other. And I feel Orthodox was a screeching halt to that, where we wrote one of the songs called Word City, and it was I really like this, but it doesn't sound like the old stuff, but I feel we should go in this direction. And so we did, and we kept having to go through breaks. We went on hiatus for a long time to kind of reevaluate if we wanted to do the band or not. And it basically just took us a long time to figure each mood out and figure out what we wanted the band to be, essentially. And for us, we wanted it to be less self-involved and be more about the world around us and our thoughts and opinions on such things.
Do you want to talk about your lyrics at all, or?
Sure. I mean, there's the Orthodox was just more so our opinions of various issues about things going on in the world. There's songs, but in a more abstract way. We try not to be too preachy, in a sense of keep the messages are not meant to be so simple, in a way. We have a song about healthcare, in a very abstract way, and just the feeling of hopelessness that can be involved with your health, something so basic. And a lot of the songs are about basic human rights and what it means to be a human being, and how sometimes a lot of that's swept under the rug. And people become desensitized to that. So a lot of it's just the frustration of seeing that in the world around you and trying to correct yourself, because everybody has tendencies to take the easy way out on issues and be preachy or just get so opinionated that you're not listening. But I think, we just feel there's a serious lack of good dialogue going on. There's a lot of just shouting and not really listening to anybody.
Is that the beginning of Brass?
That's part of it.
That was one of my questions. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We basically just all read from different articles from different pieces of Time magazine over the past 10 years, and we basically went all at the same time to kind of capture that emotion. That just constant worrying of you can't get a clear voice. You can't get your own voice.
Worked out pretty well, because that's exactly what I heard.
Very cool.
Influences on the new album, because you said, and I definitely heard a bit of a change from your old albums to the new one. I heard These Arms Are Snakes. At least that was my first opinion of it.
No, they're a great band, and we definitely enjoy that band. I think for us it was we just wanted to dabble more in minor keys, because we all listen to a lot of different kind of music. And for us, it was at this point in our lives and the issues we're writing about, to play in a major key seems kind of hypocritical and kind of silly. So almost all of the parts on the album are in minors, because I just feel you get the open minor tunings, you can just capture so much with them. So I think it was just meant to basically capture the mood of the album and kind of relate with the issues and be appropriate for us.
to actually look at this again. Okay, what's the most exciting thing to happen to music as of late?
Oh man, that's hard. I don't even know, man. I'm so out of the game, I feel.
Well, for
at
you
this point.
personally.
For me personally, you know, for me the best feeling is going to a show and seeing a band that you had not heard of. You went to go see a headliner, but one of the support bands opens and you'd never heard of them. And just that initial, like, when a band has their sound dialed in, they're all on, and nothing can change that feeling of seeing a band that you're going to truly love for the first time, and have it be a total surprise. And I just feel, you know, even as the music scene changes, like, it evolves and there's new bands and bands go away, like, it's wonderful to see that process always taking place, you know. And I think, I don't know, there's bands that even now at age 26, you know, I feel the same as I did when I was 14 going to see them. So it's cool.
It's a great feeling when you go to the show and the opening act is better than the headliner.
It's the best.
You're just like,
I love
"Goddamn."
it. You're rooting for the underdogs. So
Yeah.
It's the best, yeah.
The headliner was still good too.
Mm-hmm.
What obscure bands do you think deserve more recognition that you'd like to name drop?
I wouldn't say obscure. I would say there's a lot of underrated bands and underappreciated bands. I really love, there's this band from around where we live called Brighter Arrows. They're really good friends, and they put out an album last year called Dreamliner that's incredible. What else do I like? Man, this is hard. I don't listen to music, man. That's all I got. I'm going to just plug them. I feel good about that.
Do it.
Yeah.
Do it, Phil. How's the tour going so far?
I would say that it's not so much a tour as much as a jaunt, just because back in September we did a 6-week tour, and now we're home. We were home for a little bit, and this is only 10 days, so, you know, by comparison, this is easy. But it's been really neat to finally play our own shows again, play with bands that we kind of, you know, that we have more control over the shows. We haven't done it in a long time, and it's been really, the first 2 shows were smaller, but the reception was cool, and I feel really good moving forward too, especially about the Canadian dates. So.
I was just going to ask about that. You were saying to me earlier that you've been in Toronto, what, 9 times?
9 times.
So what are your opinions, thoughts,
I
bad
love
things, whatever?
I love playing Canada. It's always been good to us. We played here on one of our first tours. We did a small 5-day Canadian tour, and it was a lot of fun. And I feel like the shows that we play that we have a lot of say over, and you know, are just more like the smaller shows are always a blast. It's the bigger shows that we haven't been a huge fan of. But that's, you know, it's so relative. You want to judge a city by its shows, but I mean, Toronto reminds me so much of Chicago, where I live, and it's kind of comforting to be here. We have a lot of friends here. Same with Montreal. And, yeah.
9 times makes it much easier, I'm sure.
Yeah. It's lost a bit of an allure as far as like, oh, dude, we're going to Canada. It's like, all right, well, we're going to Canada, so that's nice.
Do you have a best tour story, or interesting, or crazy tour story?
I can't think of one off the top of my head. We've been a band for like 7 years, so I feel every tour has a story. We were reminiscing about our European tour, and just a lot of those stories recently. We played a show once, and actually I should not tell the story. Because if the kid sees this, I'm like, it's cool. Never mind. I'll tell you that after the camera's off.
All right, that's good. Do you find it hard to balance enjoying tour while you're on tour compared to, you know, missing home, family? Or do you just kind of forget about it?
No,
while
I
you're on
think
tour?
no. It's definitely a battle. The longer the tour, the harder it is. That 6-week tour, you know, by week 3, you're kind of over it. You know, if you're fortunate enough, you get to play shows and meet people, and that's the best part about touring is meeting people and playing good shows and getting your message out. But a lot of bands, and including us, big time, you'll do a tour and it's kind of a turd. So you're ready to go home the whole time.
Yeah.
But I think that it's necessary, you know, if even if it's not, you don't think it's a good tour, a lot of the time it's still very worth it. You know, there's people that do come to see you, even if it doesn't seem like it.
Yeah. Well, you're in your own little world, I guess, and, you know, you don't feel like you play a good show, you leave thinking, I didn't play a good show.
Yeah,
There's like 5 kids who are like, that was an amazing show,
Exactly.
but you don't know that.
You have to, I think the important thing this is something I've tried to, you know, enforce in my own life is, even if you don't feel it, you should put all your effort into it anyway, because it's only fair to people. So I think that despite all your baggage of missing home and stuff, it's your responsibility to still put it all out there.
Right on. Yeah, you already came all this way anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Might as well. So I was recently talking with Kid Crash. Apparently you guys are friends with them?
Yeah, we Dan and Nick actually booked them in high school. Oh, that's actually the dudes.
All right. You want to answer this one and then stop? Or
Yeah,
do you...
let's do that.
Okay. I hear you know Kid Crash.
They're
Great transition.
They're really old friends of ours. They actually we booked their band when Dan and Nick were in high school. And well, we were all huge fans of their band, actually. And then as time went on, we started talking to them, and they're still putting out incredible music, and it's really cool to know those guys and see them evolve as well, because everything they put out changes so much, but it's still like they never lose. In fact, they gain quality, I feel. It's just and now Alex actually from Kid Crash is making amplifiers, a company called Science, which Dan uses, and those heads are incredible. So if I'm gonna plug that,
I did not
Science
know.
Amplifiers, Science Amplification, it's incredible. So yeah, they're a really great band. There's another band that people should know about.
Yeah, that's a band that I feel like is band's favorite band.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Everyone who's in a band is like, those guys.
Which is the most sincere form of flattery, I feel.
Yeah,
so.
truly.
Yeah.
Truly. Okay, well, thank you for talking with us, Ed.
My pleasure.
Yeah, have fun playing tonight. It'll be a
Thanks,
good show,
man.
I'm sure.
Cool.